Hope you are able to see my screen. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, fine. Um, Before starting, just want to give you some glance. It's we can't cover everything here. It's a very vast topic. A lot of responsibility someone has to take to lead the DPO office. But to make everyone align or understand what it required to learn, I'll start with the basic fundamentals. The one who is responsible for the data that has been processed or collected is the DPO, along with all the respective stakeholders like legal heads, data governance office. But he's the one who is primarily responsible for communicating with government agencies, talking to internal stakeholders, reporting directly to the chief technology officer, or anything that has to be communicated back to the a data subject. This personal office is responsible. So either you can call it a data protection officer or DPO office. So his main responsibility is to ensure the privacy of their customers, their employees, their vendors. So he's the one who will own this and run the program in an organization. That's his role. So that's what we will learn today, like what actually he does, what before that, what is he is to protect, how he has to protect, how he understand or visualize the data, and what is the benefit he is bringing back into the table, ROI, return of investment to the organization. So that will help to boost the company sales. And as an individual, if you are a data subject, what are the rights you have as part of that country or law that helps you to know, and how you what are the rights and a person or individual have that he can request to an organization, and how organization has to respond to that. That is something we will learn today. Uh, just a quick background about us. So we as a guarantor, we started in year 2016. Uh, we are official partners with multiple products like OneRush, Big ID, or PEBC for DPO privacy related stuff. Along with that, we are also partnered with Microsoft, Amazon to help us or upscaling the resource who are part of this program, which is very niche in the market, focusing that. And this will help us, you and us as well, to learn something new, to understand, design, and progress. And that's what we focus on. So, so what we cover in these today's, and these are the topics at high level. What is privacy? What is data privacy? What is meant by PA, non-PA? Global privacy regulations we have right now, and what are the recent penalties someone is facing right now, and how they are, what are the different causes for that to get such penalties, and what is it for the organization, what is ROI that they will get it, if we implement this, how organization can mature, like what are the additional steps they can take to get it enhance their security, what is a uh, level of accuracy or data that has been collected and processed, and how they have to do it. That is something we'll cover. And what is for us as individuals, if you want to learn what the DPO does and how he can operate in an organization. So as an individual, what are we have to learn as part of this program, we'll cover in the end. Okay. So privacy means, the statutory rights everyone have globally. A lot of countries they have. It's individual privacy. Someone should not intervene into other personal privacy space and disturb them. That is privacy. But data privacy means ability of a person to determine for themselves how, when, and what extent personal information that has to be shared or communicated to others. So he is the one has to decide, or the company has to put a comma or full stop at what level of information someone has to be get collected, processed, and stored. And this personal information can be anything, maybe a name, location, your mobile number, your social security number, your PR number, anything. So, in a simple nutshell, whatever the data that has been collected or processing inside our organization, it has to be maintained secured, and that has to be collected in a right manner. So, and that has to be processed. And if it is processed in an organization, then they have to implement a security measures, and that helps us to build a trust, or that has to build a security to the data that has organization has been collected. For that, data privacy has to ensure all the right controls are in the place. For that, what all countries are doing right now, they are bringing up with a lot of different regulations, like PDPL in Malaysia, in Singapore, PDPL law they have. In India, recently, like they started with data protection law. It started like a week back. Saudi, they have a PDPL. So what it says is very simple. Any information that has been collected or stored has to be taken written consent. So someone they have to take a written consent either electronically or digitally or records. Through one of the form, they have to take a written confirmation. Whatever the data has been collected, they have to put a lot of security measures to protect that information so that we can now protect the individual privacy of a customer or their citizen or their employee. So these regulations keeps on enforcing. Okay. So law, they create a simple law, not simple, as I could say, like a very, they create a very sophisticated law. And if you want to run a business in that country, you have to follow that law. So take an example, you are working in Malaysia and you want to operate, you want to do a retail business. So as part of retail business, you help them to log into your company portal. Once you help them, a customer, to log into your portal as part of checkout process to purchase a product, you will collect their mobile number, their address, their nearest street numbers. Sometimes you will also ask the geolocation coordinates or latitude or longitude. Um, you also provide a right time to be get contacted with you. So they collect this information. They store, this particular company will store in some certain location, a certain database. Then they start deriving this information. Sometimes this third party company, this the company where you purchase a product will give this data to a third party company to give a delivery to your home. Not all companies will you do delivery. If they share the data to third party, there has to be a process. That's where, and if this company want to run a business in your in the particular country, they have to follow certain protocols. So this all this information which is collected from you and stored in their database has to be secured, and it has to be take a consent from you. It has to be uh, secured as secure place which should not leave your country. So if it is a Malaysian data, citizen data, the data should not be leave the country. If it is leaving the country, you have to take a due diligence how it has been moved. So you have to inform it. So all this you are doing because of a regulation. So that is where data privacy comes into the picture. So country, this law, PDPL law says that any information of their citizen is getting collected, they have to notify, they have to know what kind of a data has been collected. Also, if it is getting collected, and if it is getting used or processed, they have to be get notified. And you also should have a right uh, to modify, delete, erase the data as well as a citizen, because you are the one who is providing that information. So take the same example, you are part of that purchase, you purchased a product, it delivered to your home. So you're not purchasing any other products from that same website for a long time. So what happens to that data? So the company has to take certain measures because it has to maintain a privacy of you. and they should not sell this data to some third party company. That is one more thing. So that's what it says, like privacy has to be maintained and it should not share that information to other companies, other vendors. Hope you know that we all get the calls from credit cards, credit card agencies. Why? Because they collect our phone numbers from one company, they start sharing this information to a third party company, and they start doing a cold calling. So it is an intrusion of your data privacy. To restrict that, they bring regulations. That's what data privacy. Also, if you are contesting, if you say all countries have a democratic elections, if you have to cast your vote, people can influence you to change your opinion and help you to vote for a different party. That's what happened in the US. That's what Facebook is being fined because they sold the data to a data analytics company. And using the data, they start changing the opinion of the citizens who is going to cast a vote. So it is an intrusion of data privacy. So that is changing the opinion you formed to vote for someone. So that is also the kind of a harassment or intrusion into your privacy both. That's where Facebook is fined for $1.2 billion. So people put it on the fine. So that's what the privacy. There is a thin layer. People can approach you, but if they want to approach you, it has to be a right platform, right way. And if you're not willing to get further communication from them, they have to restricate themselves from not reaching you. Okay, so someone is trying to approach you, and if you said no, they should not reach you again. That's what privacy is. And information is getting collected, they should not post it in public, or they should not use that information to make more money out of it in illegal ways. So to do that, every country is coming up with the data privacy laws. So what this program is actually all about, why we need to run this program. Um, any company globally, take an example, we are talking right now in this channel. If I say I want to purchase a Dell laptop and I'm looking for an i7 model with 16 GB of RAM. Now, after certain time, maybe a couple of minutes, I would say, if I browse and I go to the internet, I type something, in the site, they call it AdWords. AdWords means you can see advertisements. In the advertisement, I only get the advertisements related to a laptop. Okay, this is happening to everyone globally. This is called privacy, like someone is recording from this mic and someone is processing it. It's not a human who's doing it, but it's algorithm that is doing in the backend. It's collecting and it is processing. When I browse something from internet, they start sending the ads to me. So this is the intrusion of the privacy, or they are changing my opinion to buy some other product, which is a competitor of, take an example, Dell. Now they want to purchase, then Lenovo starts sending me a lot of ads to my Gmail, or whenever I'm watching some videos in YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, they start sending me some videos which is related to that. How they are doing it? It is because of algorithm which is running your backend. If you are connected to internet, they're collecting all this information and they start sending this information. To make it more streamline this process, what government is did, they come up with a privacy regulation law, and they said like if it is get collected, it has to be used in a certain way. So that's what we need to do it in an organization. So the organization collects a lot of data, they process it. So now organization is saying that, sorry, law saying that if you are collecting information of customers, you should not sell it to any company. If you sell it, please notify us. If you are selling the same data to an abroad company who is not from this your country, then you do a due diligence and you send a proper mail to us. We will respond. Unless our approval, you should not send it. Okay. So This is called cross-border transfers. Okay. Then they start collecting this information from a banking. Take an example, a banking company is doing it, but they are using for some other purpose, maybe for real estate, based on the balance you have, based on the credit score you have. So this is again intrusion into your privacy. They should not do it. Okay. So to make these such rules, this privacy program is required. For that, already most of the countries drafted a privacy regulation law, and it made it very clear that you should not kill other competitor. You should not change the opinion of any user. If you are collecting certain information from a data subject, please notify him. If he want to opt out, means he should not want to communicate with you further, he should have that access privilege. Or if he want to delete the account from your channel or you from your portal, they should allow to do it. If you fail to do that, we will put penalty on you. That's where whenever you log into any multinational websites, they always take a consent from you. You are logging in, we are collecting your information. Please accept the cookies. You see a banner below that website. That's a purpose of privacy program, because whenever you are accepting something or you are want to get signed up for something, you should get digitally signed. It means you are digitally accepting it, that I should receive such emails. You also have a privilege to come out of it. If they fail to do so, they will land, the organization will land into a problem where they can lodge a complaint, and the organization has to give an evidence that because of you signed up for certain place, we are sending this. If they fail to do so, that they'll put a penalties. Okay, that's the purpose of the business. Now I'm talking about the country perspective or organization perspective. But if you fail to do so, the government will not sign a contract with you. That's the first thing. Or you want to do a banking related or financial related projects, you should have complied with these regulations from that country. So if you are doing a business in Europe, you should comply with GDPR. So you should hire a third party consultant who comes to your office, verifies everything, says that I compliant with that, and the government will officially send a person to verify it. If they feel that you are not fulfilling all the requirements, they'll put a penalty on you. If they are okay, then they'll give you a compliance certificate. Based on that certificate, you can get more business. That is ROI. How you calculate that? That is the knowledge you will start you have to gain by doing the business. So you have to understand how many contracts has been cancelled, how many contracts has been signed because of this particular law. That is something you have to do ROI. So again, if you do all this activity, you also get a lot of trust from your customers, or partners, or business personnel, so that you'll get more business. So you see all the major companies globally right now, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, like parent companies, Meta, TikTok, all are facing scrutiny from global regulatory bodies like GDPR, CCPA, and PDPL. Okay, so you have to build the confidence, otherwise you can't sustain in the market. So should we protect everything? I'm telling that we have to secure the information. You have to protect. User should have a right to come out, opt in, everything. You can't protect everything, but you have to start with some point. And that point is uh, what information we should protect. Okay, I'm logging into the system. Should I protect that? No. I am logging out. Should I protect that? No. But what should be protected? Your PR number, your personal information. So what are the personal information here? So personal information means anything that used to identify individual person, such as name, using a combination of information, your social security number, your personal information, and your address, your PIN code. Then I can identify you. That is personal information. So anything that leads to identify you is personal information. That information need to be protected. Okay. Anything that can change your opinion or that can harass you has to be highly secured, or you should not start collecting those information. That is SPI information. Even you collect it, you should not store in your databases to an extent. Even you store, you should have a valid reason for that. Like your political opinions. Are you part of any trade unions or biometric data, eye retina data? So even you are collecting it, it has to be highly secured. There is a proper methodology for that. So that is the difference between a PA and SPA. Both are important. Both are need to be secured. But whereas PA information, everyone will collect. You move the moment you collect it, you secure it. That's good. But if you're collecting SPA information, you need to take additional measures. There has to be a proper process in place. Even you collect it, you should not store it. At the point of collection, you make them aware that this is the SPA information we are collecting. And if this information is leaked in the open internet source, you get fined a minimum of $50 per user. Okay, so even you collect it, it has to be a very strong reason for that. That's why now if you see all the global organization, they start when you're trying to apply for the job, they start collecting this kind of information. Previously, it is very common. So they'll ask your political opinion, religion, where you located, what's your beliefs, and they collect such information. Now they start reducing collecting this information because these are not important or required to in a company to hire you, to take you, or to sell a product to you. It's not required. So that's why SPI is like highly sensitive in nature. PI is also sensitive in nature, but unless you combine with something, they can't identify you. Even it is identified, it has to be secured. So that's where all the companies will run a concept or a program called data discovery. So they take all these attributes and then they start figuring out using some tools that are available in the market like OneTrust, Big ID, Secure.ai, different tools that are available. So they develop a logic, they write a program. So it will go and identify all the systems in an organization where this data has been stored. So once they identify it, they'll take a measures as per the law. Take an example, if it has a highly sensitive information, it has to be encrypted or anonymized something. Or if the data has been not used for a certain period of time, you should archive it. So certain policies and measures they'll take, but the baseline is SPI and PI information. Every company will do this exercise. As a DPO, you should know this. So the different regulations that are available right now globally, it's not limited, very limited. I would say like more than 85 countries now have a privacy regulations, which if you want to run a business in that particular region or country, you should comply with that. If you have an office in, like, take an example, Malaysia, US, and Europe, then you have to comply with all the different regulations, local regulation in all three different countries. For that, you need to have a DPO office. They will look after it. Once they look after it, they'll understand the local regulation, because if I want to do a business in Europe, that's a different understanding. If I want to do a business in Malaysia, I have to follow a different understanding because law is different everywhere. But all these regulations is very simple. All they want to protect a data subject. I mean, just there is citizens' data. That is what they drafted. So they are enforcing it. It's not a request they are doing to organization. They are making as an act, or they're enforcing. If you fail to do so, they'll put a compliance. Right now in Malaysia, any company that have more than 10,000 vendors should have a DPO by 2026 January 1st. If they fail to do so, everyone has to pay a $10,000. That's the first step. If you failed, every 6 months they start imposing it in Malaysia, and then they start putting additional measures, like they have to implement a discovery, classification, categorization, consent. So these are the certain steps. Like it's very very detailed. We need to go through that. It can't cover here, but to make you all understand, uh, if you are running an office in Malaysia and you want to do a business in Malaysia, you have to follow the government requirement. That is, you should have a bare minimum DPO. I mean, every company should have a DPO if you have a 10,000 vendors. So maybe I'm an online CV maker. If 10,000 customers are signing up in my site, then I should have a DPO. It's a law. If you fail to do so, they put a $10,000 fine. Okay. Then the next question is, okay, now I had a DPO. What is the process? What should I do? So the moment you hire a DPO, government asking you to follow the law. So what they derived in the law? So any information you collected from the user, you should notify him. If he's want to come out, you should give an option. If you want to implement or collect some information, you should send a digital copy that you are signed up for so and so. If he should have come out, you should give the permission. And if you want to delete his data, you should give it. And all the data that is very sensitive in the nature has to be get protected. They won't tell what how you have to protect it. But as a DPO, you have to help the organizations how to protect the information. That is something you have to take a call, or you have to sit with the technology team to understand how you can protect the data. So first thing is you need to identify the data, then do a classification, then do an encryption or tokenization. We only guide organizations to do the steps, but the moment you have a DPO, all these things he has to taken care of it. Then every project, every process that is starting in an organization should have a DPA and ROPA. That is the two terminologies you will keep on hearing in all privacy profiles, or so when you hide in any company. What it says, it's very simple. Uh, you'll send a series of questions. Uh, the project who is running that project, he will fill that information. In that, you try to understand, it's a kind of an investigation that we do. So if someone is starting something in a company, you try to understand whether they are dealing with any PA information or not. If they are dealing, then how they are securing it. That is something your role to understand it. So that's why DPO office is very important. So in Malaysia, if you are a DPO, if you get a job, the first thing is like you need to understand the data inside your organization. Then you have to protect it, and you also see all the points where data has been collected, how it has been getting secured. And if they are trying to send the data to some other places, you have to be aware of it and you have to inform the government. That's your role. So that's what law says. So if you fail to do any of this, you have to end up paying the penalties. So there are a lot of penalties right now. It's happening, which I have few here right now. Recently, on like 3 months back, Shell, SHEIN, they paid like $150 million. All the mistake what they did is it's very simple. When you log into their website, without they didn't give an option to accept or reject the information which is collected there. So we call that as a cookies banner. So you'll see a small banner below that website. So if they fail to give that option, that's it. All they miss that option because of they don't have a technology in that place. So then immediately a regulatory body came into the picture and they did a exercise. They identified that they are not giving data subject to come out or take it that option. So they failed to do the, so they put a fine of 150 million. So similarly, Meta fined with 670 million. Recently, Ireland put a $1.2 billion fine on Meta like 3 4 months back. It's a very astonishing figures, but uh, these regulatory bodies are very very strict in nature. They will go through each and every company who is doing the business in that country. But before they come, they'll give you a certain limitation. Okay, if you are a small company, we leave you. This is our threshold limit. Like you have a 10,000 vendors, then we'll come into the picture. You have less than that, like we are okay to take ease on you. But the moment your business is growing and you have more customers, like 10,000, 10,001 customers, 10 or 20,000 customers, you are making the business or you're collecting the information from the customer, then this regulatory body will come and send the notice. They'll check it, they'll verify it. Based on that, they'll take a call. If they fail to, if you fail to do that, they'll give a time. Then they'll give one more chance to implement. Even you failed after multiple requests, they'll put the fines. These are very small figures. In globally, like at around in 2025, so far companies paid more than $7 billion of fines globally. It's a huge amount. So they'll put the fines. Like regulations are everywhere. You go to US, you go to Malaysia, you go to Singapore, you go to Saudi, Middle East, like even UAE, even you go to Europe, collectively 40 plus countries. You want to business, do a business in any of these countries, you have to follow these regulations. And every country will see only their regulation. So if you say that I compliant with Malaysia regulation, they won't agree to that. If you want to business, do a business in my country, you have to follow my regulation. So if you have an office in 5 different countries, you have to follow the 5 different regulations. So you should have a global privacy office for this to run such kind of programs. If you fail to do so, that everyone will put a fine separately. So if you say that I got a fine from Malaysia, they won't listen. They'll put a fine from even Europe as well. So everyone will do their due diligence. So why? What is a ROI I'm getting? What is a requirement I have? So if you have a very strong privacy, then the customer demand will keep on increasing. So the customers you can attract more because if you are ensuring their privacy, like your security, you have a very good word of mouth, and the branding is pretty high. And then you have to follow all the regulations and compliance. It's not only what I'm saying that you have to follow the law. Apart from that, international ISO standards you need to follow. You have to get compliant for what are the what are the requirements you have. So if you follow that, then you get a lot of trust even from your vendors, from the market, from the customers. Then you can also include the supplier system ecosystem. It gives a lot of edge in the market. So it will give you a better ROI yield. So this is a chain system. And if you fail to do so, some certain regulations, it's always there is a room for improvement. You can't build a Rome in a one day. So you need to follow a lot of different regulations. So one such regulation recently, it's ISO 27219, which is only related to privacy. So it will give a little edge. So certain things you have to do it. So you have to do your homework, trying to understand, and that will help you to give a better edge in the market. So to understand at what level we are, you have to do auditing. So audit means it's a checkbook which will go through all the hard evidences. So if I say that I'm compliant with so and so regulation, they'll ask evidence. They look after your security measures. They tell like screenshots. If I say that I'm using a multi-factor authentication, they'll ask for a screenshot. And if you're saying that I'm using a secure database, they'll ask you your vulnerability requirement list and how you compliant and how you're storing information in a database, who all have access, at what level of access, everything they'll ask in a hard evidence. So if we are able to satisfy or make understand and start creating a hard evidence or electronic evidence for all the work which we did, that is verified by the audit team. So there are two different, internal and external. One is verified by our internal team, and then all this evidence will send it to external. They'll also verify, and they'll see all the risks, challenges, whether we are following it or not, whether we are not able to fulfill certain things. They'll do all the analysis. And if there are certain gaps, this audit team, they will get back to you. They'll help you to understand. Then those gaps, you keep on filling it. That's your role as a DPO. So compliance, legal, audit, and government body. As a DPO, you should talk with all of these people. So first is your internal people. your technology, then your auditing and compliance team, then your government. You should talk to the government body. Whenever there is something is happening, you are the one as a DPO responsible, and you take the evidence from here and legal and your privacy office, and you have to get back to the government. So everything goes uh, hand in hand. Okay. So next, there are certain principles that if we follow, these are globally mm, agreed principles, I would say, for how data has to be processed in an organization. So anything that you are collecting, you have to be very honest. You have to communicate openly. That is called lawfulness, fairness, and transparency. You have to be very, very open. So how it has been collected, where it has been collected, whether if it is collected, whether we inform the data subject that how we are getting collected and how we are going to use it. We have to be very fair. You collect information for, take an example, purchasing a product, but if you sell it that data for a third party credit card company, then there is no fairness, there is no transparency. So you're doing something illegal. So you should not do that. You have to be very fair. You have to tell that, okay, we are collecting this data and we will store it. And if you don't come up with like X amount of time, we'll delete your data. So we have to be very transparent and genuine to our customers. And then whatever the data has been collected, we have to limit ourselves. We should not collect all the information, unnecessary information. As I said, like you see SPI, we're collecting, take an example, your biometrics. It's not required. Why should I collect your biometric information? Certain unnecessary information which is not required, we should not collect. We should keep ourselves limited, which is being required for our business. So even whatever been collected, we have to use it only uh, in a fair way. Okay. And if we are not able to uh, put like limitation, we collect everything. Take an example, that tomorrow there is a hacker who sits at some X place and he steal the data, then you land up in a very bad shape, and regulatory bodies will come and put a huge sum of fine on the company if you are not able to limit this data. So even to restrict yourself, you have to collect only the required information. Okay. So next is minimization. So it's also very whatever the purpose you collected, you use it only for that purpose. You don't use it for unnecessary purpose. And even the whatever data is being collected, take an example, they're collecting your mobile number. It has to be up to date. It has to be in a accurate data. So the whatever the data you are collecting, also you just make it very accurate. Know where you are collecting, where you are storing, and you use it for only that purpose. And after the purpose is completed, you just delete the data, you erase the data. That's what accuracy means. Next, storage limitation. So the moment it is being collected, you have to retain for only X period of time. Usually the global standard is like only for 5 years. So if you are ordering a product from online, they should store only your data for 5 years. So that is called your past history, order history. Certain companies only do for 10 years. Unless there is a criminal charges against you, they should not um, store the data for a longer period of time. So that is storage limitation. Then integrity and confidentiality. So you have to be very, very uh, reasonable in securing this data, and only right people should access the data. When whatever been collected in a company, it will store in some place. Only right set of people should uh, handle it. It should not give an access to everyone. If you see that there is a Senate discussion that happened in 2025 January, where a famous company related to digital marketing, everyone in the company have access to all the personal data. So it means see information of US citizens. They stored all this data in a database, but that database credential is shared to a person who is sitting in China. which is against. So there is no confidentiality, there is no integrity. So whatever been even collected by that company, only certain people should be able to access it and they should restrict it. And whoever been giving the taxes, he has to take the accountability also. So if he is collecting that information, he has to ensure that that particular data should be stored securely, and what are the data being collected, it has to be secured with certain protocols, and he has to see all the regulations whether we are following it or not. So these are the principles, basic principles. Apart from that, we can also draw our own principles if you want. As a DPO, if we want to do it, like we can come up with the more principles. But it's globally, this is the, you can say these seven principles, or seven or eight. The one or two here and there we can add. These are the 7 to 8 principles globally, which is everyone follows. So whenever they see some information, they'll check whether all these are able to meet, or we are not able, whether we are able to meet or not. So they'll check all these principles. So tomorrow a project is getting started, we will see all these principles whether we are able to fulfill or not. For that, we'll ask the questions to the project and try to understand it. So now, take an example. After doing all of this, even there is an incident. Okay. So it means you are collecting a customer information, you stored it, that information left the company now. Okay. So everything which is leaving the company, okay, is an incident. Anything, even you click a mouse click, that's an incident. So all these incidents will get triggered somewhere, someplace. Okay. If it is not able to meet, so that technology is called SIM, if you ask me. SIM, they have DLP, they have CASB. These are the tools. So everything that is getting triggered, it will go to the events. Okay, and if it is failed to meet the requirement, then it is called incident. So take an example: you are sending a one file from your company to your personal mail ID. First, the moment you click it, it is called event. Okay, the moment it is leaving your corporate network and going onto their inbox, that is incident. So every incident has to be investigated. Whether that file which left our company will have some impact, which impact means whether it has some loss, or whether it is compromising someone else's privacy, or whether it's compromising our company's interest, then it is a breach. Breach can be personal data or company's information, anything. But if that breach is related to a data subject, I mean a customer data, then you have to inform that person, like this is something has happened in our company, and we are notifying it. It has been uh, shared to someone, some X and X. We are investigating it. So we have to be very clear. If you fail to do so within 48 hours, they'll put a fine on the company. So the moment you came to know about certain incident, you can investigate. You have a 48 hours of time to do the investigation. The moment the investigation is finished within 48 hours, you need to conclude whether it's a breach or not. If it is a breach, the moment you know about the breach, you have to inform the regulatory body and you start informing the user also. Okay. So this is difference between event, incident, and breach. It's highly thing is we do a cold calling if there is a breach. We have to let them know that there is something happened unusual. So now this is the rights that someone have if you are a customer of a product. So if you purchase a product from certain company, then you have all of these rights. And to make all of these get fulfilled, that's a DPO role. So this is called data subject access request. So if you are a DPO and people will reach out to you through what are the automation tools right now available in the market, they'll reach out to you, and that will land into your DPO bucket saying that I have like the data subject might request, take an example. I'm giving a rough example. Take an example. In this case, I'm a data subject. So you own a product, uh, uh, you own a company, phone company, and you sits in Malaysia. So I am also Malaysian citizen. So I'm a data subject. So I'm a customer of your company. So I'll drop a email to you, to your company, and I'll drop you because you're a DPO in this case, assume. So I'll tell that I want to know all the data which you stored about me in your company. So as a DPO, your responsibility is to collect all this information and send it back to me within 30 days. That is called right to be informed. And I want to edit some information. You have to give that access to me. So I want to edit my mobile number. I want to change my address. You should give allow me. But certain information can't be changed. Take an example. I want to change my biometric. I want to change my social security number. If it is incorrect, it's okay. Okay, that is called right to rectify. Then there is one more option, erase. I'm a customer in of your phone product company. I want to delete all my data which is stored in your phone product company. So you have to fulfill it. Then you have to drop me a written email within 30 days saying that all the data which is collected on you upon you is deleted now. So then there is one more option. I am a citizen. I'm using your product. I want to stop receiving your marketing emails. That is called right to objection to processing. So I have should have a right to you are storing, restricting that information also. If I want to come out, I should come out. I should have that option. If I tell that immediately within 48 hours, I should not receive any emails from your company. That is something called unsubscribe. You might see all the emails. So if there is option called unsubscribe, if I do it, that I should not get it. Or you can call it opt out also. So this is a one more niche thing. After seeing all these flare-ups by global companies, organizations, international standard organizations, so this is one of the compliance body globally, which is recognized. So they also come up with 2019 ISO 27701 2019. They came up with this particular compliance, which is purely focused only on privacy laws. If anyone worked on compliance, you might know these standards. So international standard organization, so they have a set on requirements which will push you to fulfill certain requirements. They have a clear cut of requirement. They'll, if the moment I say this one, they'll give a direct template. That particular company will come into the picture. They'll send this questionnaire to you, and they'll say these are the things you need to do. So then you put a one team into place, and they will see what all we can do from this particular requirement. So I'm giving you one or two examples from the standard. So all the data has to be stored securely, and only right people should have access. That is called data minimization. The control name is data minimization. So for that, you have to review all the controls that in your company, and you have to collect the evidence. Then one more requirement is all the data has to be classified as per the standard. So you need to do a discovery. And then once the data has been identified, you have to say whether it's a public, or internal, confidential, restrict, something you have to do it. So you have to categorize the data. This is a standard. So there is a series of questions they'll give, and they'll say that this, if you do this, we will say you are compliant. If you fail to do so, that we'll say that you are not compliant. So this is a standard. We all the organizations right now, if you comply with the privacy law, you end of the day you also comply with this particular standard also. It's a globally approved or recognized ISO standard. But this will not land you into the fines. Okay, uh, if law is different, compliance is different. This is compliance, that is regulation, and law. That is very different. So even you fail to do compliant with this, it won't have any impact. Okay, it's better to have, but law is mandated. If you want to do business in my country, you have to follow it. There is no exceptions. Okay, so these are the different names you might keep on hearing going forward globally. Names which if you ask me. So for security, these are the different names we you see. So, but as a DPO, you should know it, but you don't have to know the technology. If you know the technology, that is a different case. But these are the technology terms. Okay, backup recovery, sorry, data backup and recovery, archiving, discovery, disaster recovery, encryption, data loss prevention, advanced threat protection, identity and access management, cloud security. In that cloud security, again, you can say CASB. So there are different things. All this says, all this, if you do any of these, the end goal is to protect the personal information. Okay, why you're doing all this? If you ask me, uh, ideally, all any company globally have at least few of these. I mean, data backup and recovery is very common. Archiving, most of the companies have. Discovery maybe or may not be. Disaster recovery, all the companies will have. Encryption, I doubt only few companies. Tokenization is optional. Data loss prevention, ideally all the companies are having right now. CASB or classification is very limited companies are right now starting it. So these are the some key technologies. If you implement it, then you will comply with the regulation. So if I say that you tomorrow you want to comply with, or take an example, I went to one company in Malaysia. It's a very take an example. It's a big national bank. If I say that I'll make you compliant with a regulation body within 6 months, I'm just bluffing it. It will take years to make it compliant because law says that you need to identify the data, protect, and have a digital evidence for each and every activity. It is a multi-year strategy. So you have to spend years continuously. You have to slowly make the progress by starting few of this technology, and plus you have to do a lot of compliance work as well. So if a project is get started, you need to do a DPA, ROPA. So if someone comes to your website, you have to make them aware through the cookies consent. If someone want to utilize their rights in your company, then you have to use DSAR technology. For that, you need some automation tools like Big Idea, OneTrust. So there are a lot of different exercise you have to do it to make it get compliant. It's just not an, a high level thing, but the projection rate is actually very high. Mm. If you start the career in privacy right now as an analyst or an analyst right now or privacy champion, the expected growth is right now is at least a 20 to 25%. Whereas religion growth is like 16.89. But in Malaysia, if you ask me, for next 3 years, the average growth would be around 30 or 45, and bare minimum, I'm telling. So the growth rate is right now is very high because now government pushed all the financial banks. It means all the banks which are in operating in Malaysia or Singapore, or even in Middle East also should have a DPO. If you ask me globally, there are not even 100 DPOs available right now. So we need such a big space, and to start somewhere, you have to come up with some key players, right? You need to know all of these technologies. And then you need to do some analysis, and then you have to come up with a privacy requirement. For that, there are tools available in the market. You just go through the tool once. I can give 2 or 3 names: Big ID, OneTrust, Secure.ai. Go to any of this company website, you will see all the modules, which is bare minimum to start a privacy. So there is DPA, ROPA, vendor risk assessment, cross-border transfers, cookies consent, consent management, uh, then DSAR, discovery, classification, encryption. These are the basic if you want to start it. So all these are combined is required to learn all of this. So, but the growth is like quite high. If you ask me, like at least you can expect to 20-25% growth for next couple of years. Even the market, everyone is telling that this market is very tough right now, but still privacy is like booming. So all the countries are start moving to privacy digitalized right now, and they want to secure their citizens' data, and everyone want their citizens' data should not leave the country. So take an example, you are a citizen of Malaysia. You there are maybe 1 or 2 lakh corporate companies, very big. I'm telling, on average, at least 1 lakh companies are exist in Malaysia, bare minimum big companies. All these 1 lakh companies should have a local database. They should not send the data to outside of your country. That's a law says. I'm not telling. It's law says. If law says, they have to follow. So if whether they are doing it or not, someone has to view it, do the exercise, and validate it. For that, you need a privacy champion or a DPO to monitor it, see it, and enforce it. So that's a scale we are talking. So it's booming right now in the market. So as an individuals, we may start as a privacy analyst, consultants. And then if you know some law background, it's very good. You can easily communicate. At privacy analyst level, it's all about you talking to internally. You're talking to your internal stakeholders, your teammates, try to implement or understand the process. Consultants or which you can go outside to some third party company and help them to comply with the privacy uh, councils. Then you have a manager role where you have a team. You get a directions from your DPO, where this guy will talk to the management and also coordinate with the analyst to ease this process to streamline it. Whereas DPO is the one who is responsible. He reports directly to the CTO in most of the cases because that's what law says. So he should always report to the higher management, mostly CTO or CEO or C. Mostly, I would say CTO mostly. He reports directly to the top layer, and he talks to the government directly, and he ensures that they are following all the regulation which is defined as per the law. He look after it, and if they take an example, your company is very big, and you have an office in like 10 different countries, out of which 4 countries have a regulations, then all 400 countries will have a DPO. So each country will have a DPO. Then there'll something called global DPO office. There's a one more big office who sits in globally, who monitor all the DPOs. That's one more layer, chief data officer we call it. So this is the progress we can see. Globally, right now it's trending, so you can start it. These are the basic responsibilities if you are a DPO. It's not limited. You have to look after auditing, communication, staff developments. You need to monitor everything. You need to come up with the privacy by design program. You need to see all the recent changes. If there are international transfers, you have to monitor it. Uh, it's a big, very huge role, and you have to be very strong in legal as well to talk to the global. Sorry, to talk to the government body, and you have to be very efficient in communications back and forth with all the regulatory companies, and you have to make sure that they're following it. Okay. And the very last thing is if there are any certifications available in the market. uh, if you actually want to do a DPO, there is only one certification, that is PEBC. PEBC only offers DPO certification. Uh, all the top three, if you see CAPM, CAPPE, US, APAC, CIPT, this all is run by IAPP. The body is called International Association for Privacy Professionals. IAPP runs top three one. But if you are more interested to do if you want to start something, I would recommend to go with the CIPT or CIPM. But if you want to aiming for a DPO role and you want a better recognition from the market, I would request you to go for a PEBC. PEBC is the only body globally that is doing right now DPO. IAPP is also planning, but is still in a beta version. They are not released a full version. They don't have a DPO course. They have a privacy course, but they don't have a DPO course. DPO course is only provided by only PEBC right now. But if you are aiming, it's PEBC is the very best. It's like it's have a high value in the market, especially in APAC. People rate very high PEBC for DPO. Okay, and thanks everyone. I'll take a pause. If anyone have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manikanta. And everyone, I would like to request if you could please turn on your camera so that we could have a full picture for everyone, please. And also on the message below, chat box, there's a link for your registration for you to able to please do sign up the registration for your attendance together with your certificate. Thank
Just
you.
one more point. Sorry, coming. If anyone want to do a PEBC DPO certifications, you can sign up with us. We are official partners with PEBC and IAP both. If anyone is willing to do, is like it's 100% covered by HRD and IBF both. So if anyone interested, please reach out to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone, would you like to open your camera, please, so that we could have a take picture? Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending this seminar for this evening. And please do not forget to register for your certificate together with your attendance. It was been sent on the chat box below, and just click the form. Certificate will be automatically sent via your email.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great evening. Thank you. Thank you, Sir Manikanta.
Thank you. Thank you.